Are any of you Irish? No. Do any of you have an Irish surname? No. All right, you're the O'Malleys from everywhere. Yeah. All right, thank you. In Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly alone. She wheeled a wheelbarrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She was a fishmonger, sure 'twas no wonder, for so were her father and mother before. Each wheeled their barrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She died of a fever, no one could save her. That was the end of sweet Molly Malone. Now a ghost wheels her barrow, the streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Cool, thank you very much. Let's just pretend a whole bunch of Irish people were there singing along. Have a good evening, guys. You all look beautiful tonight.
See the storm, see in your eyes, see the thorn twist by your side, and I wait for you. Sleight of hand, a twist of fate, a bitterness, she makes me wait, and I wait without you. With or without you, with or without you. Through the storm, we reach the shore, we give it all, I won't in a way for you, with or without you. I can't live with or without you. Take it away, Mars. Yeah, you give yourself away. Yourself away, yeah, you give, and you give, yeah, you give yourself away. My hands are tied, my body bruised, she's got me with nothing to win, nothing left to lose. Yeah, you give yourself away. Yeah, you give yourself away. Yeah, you give you. Something like that.
Holding open to the path you find it on, and I'd find the trees are burning quicker and the fires are on their wine. Swept away an apparition's body, minds in on a vine. I have it all abandoned and I'm heading on a sign to home. Go home. Go home. Go home. And tripping down the lanes and now I'm speaking slow and now the body feel it on my own and I am heading on the show. It creeps and crawls and twists and body sucks the air right out the room. It comes and do, it comes and pay, you know and I go home. Go home. Come home. 감사합니다. falls on the tree. Kicking rocks, you have one more, you say. Hideaway, you had one single day. It's alright, just one big hole, face it up and I'll stand tall. Spit off doubts, you cannot fall, face it up and I will crawl. It's alright, just one big hole, face it up and I'll stand tall. Spit on doubts, you cannot fail, face it up and I'll stand tall. Hey, we got Eddie up next. Thank you very much.
And it is called I Played the Boys Are Back in Town on a Bar Jukebox Until I Got Kicked Out. The boys were back in town, but I was out of the bar because they asked me to leave. By Timothy Faust. So, my name's Eric. I've been in Korea for 10 years, and this has been a dream of mine for a while. All right. Nothing is forbidden anymore. Enrique Iglesias, Balamos. Whenever I'm feeling miserable, I scrounge a few dollars out of my jacket pockets and tromp up to the bar I don't like. The bar is about 3/4 of a mile from my apartment and wholly forgettable, but ostensibly a metal bar. The first time I visited, I did what I do whenever I find myself in a new bar. I go to the jukebox and I see what record is number 69. As you fucking would, right? Here, it was Thin Lizzy's thoroughly non-seminal Jailbreak. I've never listened to that album the whole way through, and by the grace of God, I know I'll never need to. For I know that Jailbreak features at least 2 songs. The Boys Are Back in Town, and whatever fucking song comes after The Boys Are Back in Town. Which reminds you that you need to hit rewind. Let me make one thing excruciatingly clear. The Boys Are Back in Town is an incredible song, and I love it. I love it so much my heart beats ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, to match Scott Gorham's guitar riff, and this leaves my physician furious and unable to speak. When my roommate leaves for work in the morning, I genuflect towards his wonderful dog, who respects me, by the way. I press my forehead to his flank and I whisper, "The boys are back in town." Over and over again, the dog turns his furry brow to look into me, and I know he respects me even more, for I have done as Mansour's Lizzie commanded. I have spread the word around. I'm pulled back again and again into this bar I do not like by an uncontrollable and carnal drive, a loyalty to the boys, and a congenital love of hollering. I'm usually content to summon the song just once from the jukebox of the bar that I do not particularly like, as even one play is a parade for the spirit. That's the life I've lived for several months. I would enter the bar, cue up The Boys Are Back in Town, slam beers until the jukebox arrived in my selection, then clap my hands, clutch them to my chest, and maybe recite a psalm from the mother tongue of my proud rural people. Perhaps an, "Oh, hell yeah! Hell yeah!" Or maybe a, Now that's what I'm talking about, to the silence around me. And then I would leave. Over the course of these past few months, I've come upon 2 bits of forbidden knowledge. 1, this bar doesn't have a working kill switch, which allows the bartender to change a song in case someone plays, oh, I don't know, the entire A-side of Rush's 2112. 2, this jukebox permits the same song to be played back-to-back if each instance was paid with a separate bill. It was 3 a.m. on a recent Tuesday when, standing in the dark outside my train station, these truths reconciled themselves within me. My compulsion became explicit and inescapable. I needed to stay up and play The Boys Are Back in Town as many times as I could. The thorns from the road ahead cleared themselves, and I walked toward the future amid roses to share the gospel with the other patrons of this wholly unlikable bar. The boys were back. This is a familiar and lonely road. I play the same song over and over again in my apartment. I've done it in bars, and I'll do it again. One foggy summer evening among the delightful garbage bars of San Francisco's Outer Richmond district, I watched a shot glass sail past my head when Annie Lennox's rapturous, transcendent, holy, holy, walking on broken glass surfaced for the 4th near consecutive time. I've been cut off by America's greatest bartender, the sunbeam who illuminates Wally's in Orlando. When she realized my plan, stop it, no, I don't need backup, fuck off. Fuck off, no, fuck off, seriously, stop it. When she realized my plan to continually play different recordings of the Monster Mash, I have compelled friends and strangers in a dune bar downtown in Houston to listen to Soft Cell's Sexdorf on loop with me until I was certain that everyone's evening had been thoroughly ruined. See, now I gotta stand up because of these cunts. This is the era of late capitalism, where bigger is always necessarily better without exception. To the true doomed disciple, to the true black-pilled, to listen to a song more times is to enjoy the song more deeply. General Funnyman John Mulaney wrote a bit about looping Tom Jones's What's New, Pussycat, which has been sent to me in a dozen G-chats. But there are thousands more like me. Maybe you've even slept with one. And we're all very sorry. We're terrible, ecstatic, self-ruinous creatures, greedy for and undeserving of love. The soul of our sweet delight can be purchased for 3 songs $1. We grab our little joys and squeeze until we've throttled them between white-knuckled fingers. That night at the bar I do not respect, I played Ronnie James Dio's Holy Diver between the 2nd and 3rd repetitions of The Boys Are Back in Town. Because, and I stress, that song is fucking excellent. When Thin Lizzy reappeared, the people of the bar united in groan song. Cocktail napkins flew like weekend litter in a gust of 24 exasperated sighs. I betrayed myself with a giggle, and the table sitting nearest to me caught on. Some dude asked me, "Why have you done this?" "The boys are back in town," I stammered. "The boys are back!" The opening notes of the 4th occurrence of The Boys Are Back in Town was met with an immediate shattering of glass, as though Eddie was playing that racist song he plays. A roar of fuck words, and the small but rapid aggressive people whose ears were closed to the good news. Close to the good news about the town and the boys who were back in it. 2 wild-eyed men, drunken and furious, descended upon the jukebox and lifted it away from the wall to get at the plug. When things had resettled, there was a line to queue up songs at the jukebox, which I joined. Are you fucking gonna play The Boys Are Back in Town again? Asked the voice when I reached at the jukebox. I absolutely 100% am not going to play The Boys Are Back in Town again. I said, I promised, while I punched the buttons to play The Boys Are Back in Town again on the jukebox, which I had memorized. The voice requested that I refrain from ever playing any songs on that jukebox ever again for the rest of my life. The next time The Boys Are Back in Town emerged from the jukebox, nothing happened, and I was finally able to celebrate in peace. 4 minutes and 27 seconds later, when Tommy Gorham's guitar kicked in again, this bar, which I will never celebrate, transformed into the island from the Lord of the Flies. Two men began pushing each other, while the man nearest me grew new throat muscles specifically to scream, "I hate this song!" at his own lap. Someone else's music selection granted us a brief intermission, which the bartender, by the way, to whom I am sorry, used to issue a funereal notice of last call. As she finished speaking, Thin Lizzy started again. My credit card appeared in front of me with a request that I leave immediately. I left with a full heart flush with new knowledge about the town and the boys who were within it, who now would never leave, and word of whom had indeed spread around. I would also be severely late to work the next morning. The jukebox in the corner blasting out my favorite song, as described in The Boys Are Back in Town, it's also playing The Boys Are Back in Town. Recently incinerated and with the ashen pallor and ancient charisma of a new and fresh heartbreak, I returned a few evenings ago to my familiar perch at the bar I do not like. My emotions were poised, automatic. Insert dollar, punch the magic numbers, 6906. Gaze thoughtfully into the abyss of the record collection. In that moment, I was my best self. I found a seat and I waited. But I never heard that familiar riff I love most. Some nondescript hair metal wafted out the stereo, and the evening collapsed upon me with the furious weight of realization. This bar I will never fucking enter again had removed Thin Lizzy's jailbreak from its jukebox. Where are the boys? I am in the town, looking outward, time and space. The distance between me and the boys unravels the years before me. Come back to us, boys. Come back to me. The multitudes within me are expanding and I am breaking at my seams. I am becoming my own universe, and the boys are nowhere to be seen. Thirst will never leave you completely. The body demands water until it drowns. I had spread the word around until there was no word left to spread. Gorged on the beauty of exuberance, I dove and I pressed myself against the floor of the sea. Today we're lost, the boys from town, and my whole life has been taken.
And now I'll play the song just for shits and giggles. Play the song that got a bottle thrown at me. Yeah! So this is a song called... This is a song called Highbrow. and it's about how I'm a genius. I wanna wake up next to your naked body tomorrow, with Milton written all over your face. I'm gonna get fucked up at some big party and talk obscure shit like Thomas Hardy. I'll be the smartest man in the place. I'm gonna get you wet when I mention Danielewski, and when I talk about how Nietzsche predicted the how. And then I'll play you a song about all of my hardships. I'll squeeze out my soul like some dirty polyp. Yeah, I'll sound smart, I'll sound highbrow, and then you'll see me for the genius I am, and you will love me as a highbrow man. I will mold and reshape this antique clay. Somehow that was a reference. Isn't that highbrow? I'll fuck you from behind as I quote Metamorphosis in its entirety in the original German. You will see how well read I am. You will see me as a cultured man, and not some lonely alcoholic hermit. I'll tell you why Charles Dickens was a hack as I snort lines of meth off your ass. I'll jerk off onto your tits as I rip Bukowski to bits, and I'll call Shakespeare uncouth and crass. And then you'll see me for the genius I am, and you will love me as a highbrow man. I will mold and reshape this antique clay. Somehow that was a reference. Isn't that it's a funny story. The term highbrow comes from the science of phrenology, where people would measure each other's skulls and then make declarations about people based on these measurements. Now, because white people generally have higher brows than black people generally, the phrenologists use this as evidence of white man's intellectual superiority. Oh, I'm offended too. So now you know. And now you'll see me for the genius I am, and you will love me as a highbrow man. I will mold and reshape this antique clay. Somehow that was a reference. Isn't that highbrow?